All right, we're live. So here we are. This is Billy from Pastures Farm. I'm not alone, and I'm in here with an old friend, a new friend, and the newest friend here. So hey, everybody, get online. Apparently, we got at least I'm showing so far on my end. We don't have anybody that's online yet, but I'm sure you'll get there. And oh, just like that, 38. Okay, and it's probably going to rise. All right, y'all. So here's what we got going on tonight. Every Sunday, I interview somebody or some bodies. This is the first time I think I've ever, besides John and Nicole, this is the first time I've ever had more than one group of people online. Now, why would I do that? And what's the purpose of it? Well, tonight, the purpose is to expose all of you folks out here to people you don't yet know about and that you ought to know about, that you ought to find out knowing more about. Because frankly, within this community, within this homestead, permaculture, preparedness, you name it, community, there are fascinating people that are doing awesome things that you don't know about. And it's not because they haven't been doing this for a long time. It's just because they haven't had YouTube exposure as of yet. Well, that's exactly what we're here to do tonight. And folks, I will say, when you go to these conferences, and I know I can get an amen for at least two of the people in here. When you go to these conferences, you are going to be shocked at how many people you meet that are in your backyard, and also people that have exactly your same have the skill set that you might need or may want. Okay, before we get into it, I want to remind everybody out there we have those troll shirts for that campaign for Veterans for Child Rescue. We talked about it the other night, and all the trolls out there, I'm sure some will be popping up somewhere in here. Oh, yeah, my friends, Two Old Crows Homestead, check them out too. Be hoping to talk to them sometime in the near future. Wonderful people. So we got that going on. Also, there's going to be a swale class at the end of July. We'll come and circle. I can't stand saying circle back, but I did it again. We're going to come back to in the end, talking about all this stuff in the end, and we'll try to intersperse it throughout. But we have that swale class going on July 30th and 31st, and you can check that out at the self. Well, hang on, let me make sure I got it here. Well, I'll tell you. Well, actually, it's listed in the show description below. So everybody that's on with me right now, we got them listed in the show description, and also where you can go for the T-shirts to support that campaign for Veterans for Child Rescue. Which, by the way, 100% of everything donate or anything purchased will be matched by two benefactors that have agreed to match dollar for dollar any dime we bring in up to $1,000. So y'all, dig deep. This is it is for that Navy SEAL, Craig Sawyer, wonderful guy, doing everything he can to eradicate child sex trafficking. All right, so all that is down in the description below. All right, so right out of the gates, y'all, here we are up to 100 and plus and counting. It's probably going to go higher. So, hey, y'all, we're going to start with Darren. Then we're going to move down to Grumpy, and then we're going to hand on over to Chamberlin Family Farms. Hey, each one of y'all, let's start with Darren. Tell everybody about what it is you do and what you do at your YouTube channel. Now, before we get into this, y'all, I'm on full disclosure. You've seen Darren on here before. He's an old friend of mine. We built a homestead together. He still lives on it. And he's an extraordinary person along with the others here. So without further ado, Darren, tell them about yourself.
Oh, what to? We just raised 5 kids in the city. Always had to go back to the city to get the money. Got them all raised. Said this big house has got to go. We got to get out of here and get some food grown. So that's what we did. We hooked up with you guys and got up here. And to start, we had to get water to the property. And then we got power to the property. And those were big celebrations just in itself. But once that got going, then we were able to graduate from camping in tents when we came up here to work on the place to bringing campers. And I lived in a camper, a fifth wheel, for about almost 2 years until I got the tiny house built and got the infrastructure for that going. So it's a start from scratch junk pile that we're etching out a homestead on. We got sheep, goats, chickens, you know, every day is growing more and more. So my background, I grew up as a aircraft machinist son in the 70s in Kansas City, and that's how I ended up with that house. But yeah, yeah, growing up, we had basket case motorcycles we worked on. There were always cars coming in, so I kind of grew up with wrenches and screwdrivers in my hand. And my background for the past 40 years has been an auto mechanic. So I always see things in a weird, different mechanical way than a lot of people don't. And I had an instructor one time when I was going through all the GM training. He said, "You've got a dysfunctional gene. You better embrace it and enjoy it because you'll make a lot of money doing it." And so I have. I raised 5 kids and countless animals and everything else, paid the bills with it. So, yeah, we're up here. Actually, this past year, we've been going around and letting everything grow because of the fuel prices. And we're learning so many more foods that we've got growing here that's probably always been here as far as medicinal purposes and like. So, fruit trees, you've helped us plant plenty, Billy, and we've added to that. The compost piles, I'm up to 4 now, and I'm getting those to where I'm starting to pull the chicken run stuff out. We don't do the tractors yet. Only ones I got the tractor for is the meat chickens. But I've got a surprise tractor coming up that we got to get built because I know Billy wants one. so we'll get that done. But yeah, every day is a learning experience. And the best learning that I see is when we talk to other people and find out what their strengths are and growing this greater community. And that's been my passion. I want to keep seeing more of that because everybody's got a certain talent or a knack that they can do. And if we can have them on speed dial once in a while, it helps others when we meet others that have those questions. So that's kind of my story.
That sounds awesome, bro. I know that there's a lot more to his story, also, y'all. And hopefully, in the future, we're going to have Darren out. We're going to fly him out. Hopefully, he is uniquely capable of some things. I guarantee you, you can come up with the parts of a Model T, and he make a 747 out of it. So he's an extraordinary guy. And check him out at Hacks for the Homesteaders. Hey, everybody, come in and do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up. It helps out whatever. I don't even know what an algorithm is, but apparently they seem to like each other if you hit the thumbs up. So y'all please do that. Hit it up on the way in. I don't know where we are on that sort of thing. So now we're going to move on to my man Grumpy. And brother, I mean, you kind of stole the show in that last video we did at that Self-Reliance Festival where, I mean, basically people thought that it was some sort of gimmick, the hat you were wearing. And you were talking about it being your I forget how many $1 million hat. But a lot of people jumped on that and they were like, okay, I'll check this out, what this guy has to say. Tell everybody out there what you're up to, brother.
Hey, hi, Billy. Thanks for having me on. Our YouTube channel is Grumpy Acres Farm, not to be confused with Grumpy Acres or Grumpy Acres Homestead or Grumpy Goats. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of grumpy people out there. But so we've been doing this. We've been homesteading for about 8 years. The journey there, we started out prepping in 2000, and it just naturally progressed. And we decided the kids got out of the house, and we found a really nice piece of property, and we bought it and started building our homestead. And as I told you at the festival, the mandates came down, and I decided I couldn't do that. So last October, we sold our house and we bought the new place and are basically starting from scratch, and our channel, we started our channel with the intent on sharing the homesteading experience. Because as you become more proficient at homesteading, you really become more free. And so we were just trying to share our experience becoming free and homesteading with people. And these mandates came down, and it was like being thunderstruck. We realized really quick that yes, the homesteading skills and all that is really important, but the focus of our channel has really changed in the last 8 months, and we are about building an intentional community now.
Yep.
And we found out really quick that if it weren't for the people in our circle, that we could not have done the move that we did the way we did. And so that's our message now is yes, we need to learn the homestead skills and we need to learn all that stuff, but more importantly, you have to have community behind you. And like Darren was saying, you've got different skill sets, and you're able to call on people, and I'm happy to say that Darren's part of my circle. We don't live very close to each other, but he's part of my circle now. And we met at a gathering, a semi-annual camp out that we have called the Midwest Preparedness Project. And Darren, correct me if I'm wrong, but we really didn't hang out until about a year and a half ago. And we've known each other for what, 7 years now?
Yeah.
8 years now?
Yeah.
The wives became friends, but Darren and I really didn't have much to do with each other until recently. And it's just been beneficial to us. I hope we're adding benefit to Darren and Patty's place when we can. But that's about it. We start from scratch, zero infrastructure. I figured out today that I'm not going to be able to beat back the jungle anymore this summer because it's growing entirely too fast. We managed to put our garden accidentally right down on top of the garden that they had here 20 years ago. So now I've got asparagus growing up through my driveway. I've got rutabaga plants where we didn't plant any rutabaga, and we're going to have a bumper crop of rutabaga. And we're finding grapes. Apparently the old owners love grapes. So they planted a whole bunch in succession, and we've got grapes growing all over the place. And basically,
Awesome.
we're pursuing freedom and trying to build community.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, thanks, Donald. Donald just said I sub to all y'all's channels. Folks, that's what we're trying to do. It's not a matter of building up. Like I said the other day, and I said it seriously, I really meant it. I don't need 1 million subscribers. I just need the right ones. And it's the same with every other channel. I think you guys would all agree. We'll get into the Chamberlin Family Farms here in a moment. Hey, we got new people coming in, y'all. Hit that thumbs up, please. Look, it's not a matter of that. In these times, we've got to have some sort of community. I just saw here in the chat as you were talking, Grumpy, there's a couple of people over there realizing that they're neighbors right there, and this is how we do it. This is why we're doing this right now. Like I said, it's not so much the YouTube thing is less about subscriptions. It's more about community, just like Darren and Grumpy both did. And Grumpy, as a side note, I think Darren didn't talk to you for 6 years because your name is Grumpy. So with that said, we're going to, my newest friends, Chamberlin Family Farms. Okay, we're going to pass the ball over to you. So I know you also have a YouTube channel. I was watching it from the very beginning. The other two are old hats at it, a little more so, and I know them, and we don't necessarily know you. So let's hear your story and find out if you're worthy to be in this community.
Well, thank you so much for having us on here, and we hope that we're worthy and that we're gonna join that circle right along with y'all.
All right, if you can snatch the compost from my hand, you may enter this community.
Yes, we've got a lot of ideas from you. We appreciate you so much, and we thank God for putting us in this space, in this place that we're at right now, and giving us the ability to do this. So I'm Jennifer, and this is my husband, Phil. He's kind of the brains and the boss of the operation, so to speak. And we have, and of course, I'm the big mouth, so I just start right up. But we have two sites. Okay, so we have my husband Phil's family's property, which we call the farm, and then we have our home property, which is called, we've been referring to as Site 2. So we have had both of these properties in the family for generations, and it's his family properties. He got the family from his great grandpa, his grandpa and his ancestors had built the property and just passed it along the generations. So he got it that way, and it's 40 acres. So we've done a lot with that. And then here at the farm, this is also generational home, and this is where we do most of the work and most of the videos. And so you'll see that, and this is 12 acres. And we have just decided that a year ago, we were both working full time. and we wanted to be in that free lifestyle as well. And we lost our childcare. So we have been basically debt free, everything but the house. And we were able to go down because we were like, we didn't have anybody to watch the kids. And his passion has always been farming. So let's try to get that off the ground. Let's try to do some homesteading and some farming and see what happens. So that's his passion. And so it's grown into my passion right along with him.
Awesome. I got to know, before we get into it, let me start with it. We're going to work backwards this time. Jennifer and Phil, I want to know, nobody ever asked this question, or at least I don't think they ask it often enough. Now, you've been at this a while. You're an old hand at it. But what made you start a YouTube channel? What was your purpose for that?
Well, I did a couple of videos on my channel, my own personal one or whatever. And whenever you put something out there, at least for me, you're kind of holding yourself accountable or having other people hold you accountable, you know? So I'm a man of my word. So if I tell them I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. So I've got all these people now watching me, just, you know, some waiting for me to fail, some of them, you know, excited about it. So that was the main thing. But then my mom and dad are both disabled and everything. So this is like something for them to do. So my mom's the one who really got the whole YouTube thing going. So, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. It's still a generational farm.
And we had been watching a lot of the YouTube channels and getting different ideas and things from it. And so as we kind of built things up, we were like, well, let's just document our journey, our homesteading journey, and see if we can get ideas from people, see how that goes.
And share some of the stuff that we do know.
Yeah, because we do a wide variety of different things. So we do not just, and this is his mom, Kim. It's a family affair. So we have pretty much the whole family involved here.
It's a way to keep him going and not slacking off. So.
I love it. I think that's awesome. I mean, you got a Walton's vibe kind of going on there. Honestly, when I watch your channel, that's actually what I think of every single. And I didn't tell you this in the emails. And folks, a lot of you, just as a little side note, when you write to me, if I'm brief in the email, it's because I have to be. There's a lot to try to get through these days. But no, I wanted to tell you that when I watch your videos, when everybody's involved, I get this Walton's feel. You got the kids running around, you got yourselves, and then you got mom and dad in there. And honestly, it just feels like, the family I kind of wished I had growing up, without the fighting and
it brings us all together. I mean, it's brought us a lot closer, and it's amazing because, like you said, it's like the Waltons feeling. We're together a lot now, and we just do like everything together, and we do all of these projects together, and it's great. Yeah.
That is awesome. Well, welcome to the community. I think you snatched the compost out of my hand, so you are you guys are welcome into the community.
Thank you so much.
Grumpy, I want to move up. We're going on back to you. It's going to be variations, I think, of the same question. What I wanted to ask you exactly is why you started a YouTube channel and what were you hoping to do? And I know you're in a tight community with Darren and a number of others, but I'd like to hear your perspective on that. What was your purpose of it, and what do you hope to get out of it?
Well, honestly, you can blame Tag over at Life Done Free for us having a channel. The whole intentional community thing, we've been doing it, trying to build one for years. In fact, since I met him 8 or 9 years ago, we've been trying to build one. And we were just talking one day, and he came up with the idea that we all start our own channels and we start promoting this idea of an intentional community with people. And I was hesitant. I don't feel comfortable on camera still, even after a year doing it. But we jumped in and we started doing it. I talked to Angela about it, and we decided, let's do it. And we started, like I said, doing the homesteading stuff, and it's the community part of it's taken front and center recently. So yeah, anybody that has to look at my ugly mug, you can blame Tag.
All right. Well, that's another channel you ought to check out. Life Done Free, y'all. Good guy. I even interviewed him a while back. So if you want to go check it out. Hey, new people coming in, please do us a favor, hit that thumbs up. Tells everybody what time it is and these wonderful people we have on here. Okay, back to my man Darren. I'm going to ask you a question similar to them, but it's a little bit rhetorical because I kind of know part of the answer because we've been friends a long time. In fact, y'all, as a little side note, me and Darren competed in the world's longest nonstop river race. We did it from start to finish, and that was an adventure. So we're hoping to do it again one of these days and maybe do it in another class instead of being in a canoe for 340 miles. Maybe this time we can do it in the Darren with his know-how would like to go ahead and get back in that competition and win this thing this time, but do it in the solar boat category, or some of the, it's got to be fuel different from gasoline or something like that. So I'm sure Darren somewhere up on that farm has got a flux capacitor hiding somewhere down that river. Okay, Darren, I want to ask you, as far as the YouTube channel goes, I want to know what was you're already within this community. You're kind of a legend back there in the community you're in, and you have been for a while for your know-how and your ability to take impossibility and turn it into possibility. What made you want to get into the YouTube space, and where are you looking to go with it?
Well, as far as YouTube, you suggested I do it because I have a unique ability to see things differently, and people need to see that. So I first analyzed what you were talking about, and then I got to talking to some of my older family members. They enjoy watching me, and it just goes to as a daily life post basically of what I'm doing, because all my cousins and stuff, you don't hear anything from them, and this is a way that the family can actually see what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I don't have my mom and dad anymore, and now my aunt and uncle are getting pretty up in years and lost all. I'm the oldest of the bunch now, as far as the second generation goes. So I'm leaving my kids and grandkids some kind of basically video photo book of my retired years and all that. And hopefully they're picking up some of the 1870s style of living. But yeah, it's just sharing knowledge, and it's affording me to be able to meet people and put those people in front of other people and just grow in a big community. So instead of having your family that you didn't choose, we got a family that you get to choose, and it just keeps growing. And that's a blast.
Man, you said it right there, bro. And we've said it before, is in some ways, not everybody is going to be, I'm not picking on you, Chamberlin family, Jennifer and Phil, I'm not picking on you, but honestly, for me, one of life's greatest injustices is not having the ability to choose my own family early on. And I'm not the only one that way, but that's the beauty, like Darren said, is that in these communities, wherever you came from, no matter what, you find some of the most welcoming people in this thing. But I'm going to go back to Phil and Jennifer. I want to ask you, okay, so you have, like I said, you have that Walton's feel there. That's what I think every time I watch one of your videos when it involves everybody in there. I think it's beautiful. But is that a double-edged sword? Are you wanting to throw Grandpa out off the train sometimes, or they wanting to do the same to you? How does that work?
We kind of
on the same space.
You want to answer?
I didn't get the last part. It kind of cut out.
Yeah, you might want to tell mom and dad to get up out of the room before you answer that question.
Oh, she's in striking distance.
No, we had set terms when we started this, that this is his deal, this is Phil's deal, and he is going to come up with all the ideas. He's going to tell us what we need to get, what we need to do. And that was coming from his mom. So it's been a really good experience because her thing is she enjoys feeding the animals. So she feeds the animals every day. He does a lot of the grout work.
When you have so many people in such a tight space like that, because I'm going to come back to the intentional communities here in a minute, and I definitely want to ask Grumpy about that. But in your particular case, How do you manage that? Because it didn't work out for me and my family when it was with one time we did it with a brother of mine. The only colossal failures I had in this are the communities I set up with my own biological family. Okay. Ones we did with Darren, everything else has always been a success. It's just the ones with my family. So with you guys out there, how close is your family in very, very close proximity? Do you share the same spaces? And how do you coexist in a situation like that?
Yeah. So my parents, they probably live like, I don't know, maybe not even a quarter of a mile down the road. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, we always get along for the most part. There are some little spats and stuff. Like me and her will like bicker, just like love spat stuff, not nothing mean or anything. We just play arguing and stuff. But
and his parents just eat that up.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I mean, we do
it's
it
like a show for them. So
yeah. But we have we each have our own rules. So we live we call our road that we're on in the Chamberlin lane, basically. So we have our property and then his parents' property, the farm, all within probably not even a quarter of a mile. And then right across the street from the farm is his younger brother and his family. And so they have their own job, which they are doing more of like the flowers, and we're doing more of the manual labor, and everybody has their jobs. So Kim will feeds the animals and just make sure that everything's, in its place. And he does a lot of the manual labor and I help him. So, and then the kids, they help where they can. They love it. And I like to be able to instill that in them.
Yeah. And I'm the oldest out of 6 too, by the way. So, and then we got 2 litters of kids. So we both come from a broken marriage from before. And so we got one that's 19, 18, and 17. And then we got our second litter, which is 4 and 2.
Yeah. So we started all over, and older kids, they're off doing their own thing, So we have the little ones all the time, and we're trying to bring them up as best we can to instill this value in them of hard work and of, more of like with everything the way that it's going right now, we want them to know how to make it on their own without having to rely on outside sources as best as they can. So we're trying to instill that in a young age.
Well, that's awesome. Garen, or Grumpy, I know Grumpy G. It sounds like you're one of the Smurfs, bro. If we gave you a little blue hat, we took one of them little hats. You took that hat off and gave you one of them blue hats, bro. They think you're a Smurf. So
when the Royals won the World Series back in the 80s, I did have a head of blue hair. Spray paint doesn't come out very well.
Oh my goodness, you did it that way. Okay. Hey, brother, you were talking a minute ago about community. Now, okay, as a little side story, when we lived up in Kansas, I remember looking into these communities, and of course, we didn't live far from the Lawrence area. And every single intentional community, y'all, I know I can be a clown sometimes and joke around, but I'm dead serious. Every intentional community we found around Kansas when we were looking were all either wife swappers, they were straight up some kind of I'm not kidding, y'all. I mean, like straight, they told you can go to the website, I bet right now.
No, you didn't poke the bear, Billy.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
don't do no wife swapping around here. The only sister and Darren gets the privilege of that, but there's no benefit.
There's a joke going around. Yeah, you got to hear that one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I was hitting on crazy territory. It is the wilds of Kansas, so anything can be going down. But every time I looked, when we lived up there, every time we were looking for, and I guess I was putting it in the search engine wrong. Every time I put it in, you'd find up some weird stuff, man. They were either some animistic people that walked around naked all the time, or, I believe a mutual friend named Mo actually visited one of these communities. And,
rabbit.
Probably found himself in the middle of a Deliverance movie, So that said, Grumpy, how were you able? I mean, you're talking about community. How is that working within your area? Is it like a community where it's more of a mutual assistance type thing, or is it a community where y'all live like on the same property? Can you iron that out?
So it started out. We were all going to end up as a backup plan for all our different properties. We were going to end up at one place should something bad happen. Typical prepper stuff, and it started evolving after a time, and instead of co-locating on a single property in case of a hard times of an emergency, we all just kind of started moving into the same area, and then it evolved into let's start bringing other people into the area. Let's start bringing like-minded people and having them move into the area. And when I say the area, I mean we're talking about a 40 square mile area. So and it's very small right now, but we're trying to bring people in, get like-minded people in, because how do I put it? So it's about your circle. When times get tough, if you're standing by yourself, it's easy to get rolled over. If you've got somebody standing shoulder to shoulder with you, it's like that fascine where it becomes harder and harder. The more twigs you put into that bundle, the harder it is to break. And we started talking about it, and as you get more mass behind that movement, you're able to start influencing the area around you. School boards, local politics, and you can start influencing the way the sheriff behaves. So it all builds upon itself, and yes, it did start out as a mutual assistance group, but it's grown way beyond that. We have discussions about the local economy and how we can help it. We have discussions about how we can influence local politics if need be. And Angela's a real estate agent, and we brought this over from our old house. You get like-minded people moving onto property, they become vested in the community, and as long as they're like-minded, you're moving in the right direction. It's kind of like herding cats. You just kind of point them in the same direction. We're not all. Everybody thinks we're part of a cult. All my friends at my old place make fun of me about being in a cult because I talk about community and being intentional and all that, but it's not. It's the furthest thing from a cult. There's so many.
It's a family.
Yeah. Angela's over here off screen. She just said it's like a family, and it's become our extended family.
Well, tell Angela that she just gave me the best T-shirt idea. Now, this one, hey, for those that don't know, we got that campaign going on right now. It should be in the show description right here. And we're raising as much money as we can for veterans, for child rescue. The scourge of humanity is what's happening to these young ones out there. And we're trying to raise every dime we can. We have 2 benefactors that are willing to match dollar for dollar. So we got those T-shirts with the names of all the trolls written on there. And we're asking your support in any of that. Also, remember, I guess this is something of a commercial I just did. Now for these, act now, you get a free set of Ginsu knives or something, But hey, we also got that swale class at the end of July 30th and 31st. That's going to be in Camden, Tennessee. That's also listed down below also. But yeah, back to Angela. For those that are just getting in, that's Grumpy's wife. The best, I swear I've got to get this T-shirt. No, I'm not going to do it. It's her idea. There needs to be a T-shirt that says, and I quote, "There ain't going to be none of that wife swapping."
She's got to do it.
Oh my
have
God.
Darren tell you the sister wife story because it's pretty funny.
Oh, we'll get into that. We'll definitely have to get into that. But more. I get a lot of emails every single day, and folks, those of you that are writing, trust me, if I'm brief, you'll have to understand why. Look, I'm still a farmer first. YouTube is a byproduct of what I do. I got a farm, so that requires me doing farming. So I try to get back to you, but forgive me if I'm brief. But one of the biggest questions I get out there, Darren, is a lot of older folks are saying, they're thinking they got to forward up with somebody. There's a lot of other people thinking, okay, man, I'm looking at the tea leaves here. Looks like I don't have a whole lot of time going. And you being an old hand at this, you've been at this thing for a long, long time. And I want to know, because one of my biggest issues was discernment early on in this. I made the bad, the awful, the colossal decision of thinking that just because we share DNA, that you're going to be as invested into this as I am. Well, as you well know, that's not always the case. So is there a criteria in which you go through to find out who is going to make it within this community. And, you know, I want to ask all you this to some extent, because I don't know the Chamberlin family quite as well, but I also want to know from your perspective, at least a variation of this question. But Darren, how do people determine whether or not this person or these people are worthy to be in this circle of trust?
Well, it's their lifestyle. How are they living right now? Are they trying to grow potted plants in a window in an apartment, or, you know, going against the grain and trying to grow something outside on the landing? Are they conserving water? Are they doing things in their lifestyle now, in the city, in the apartments and all that, that would transfer over to a bigger property? How you meet them, we've been meeting them through our campouts, our Midwest Preparedness project, and that you can start to vet the people and get to know them. It's kind of like a dating ritual. The more you talk to them, the more spend time with them, you'll kind of find out what they really want and what their passions are. Out in the world, you just get into conversations about I got sheep or whatever, and if they're interested, and then they'll start telling their story, you can start to vet them that way. Then you can start to build friendships that way, and eventually, if they don't have a place, or you can help them find a place, and just teach them ways of being able to go about getting that property, or getting in with somebody that's wanting to get out or whatever. Yeah, it's just looking at life a different way, and seeing if those people are just talking, or if they actually are trying to do it with what they've got now. So that's how I see, anyway.
Have there been in some of these gatherings? Just a quick follow up. In any of these gatherings, are there any of these people that just jump out and say, no, we ain't going to second base? You know what I mean? Have you had those?
Oh yeah. There's some Fruit Loops come out there. And yeah, what was that one deal? It was a campfire one night, and we go around and introduce each other and all that. And I think Grandpa G said something about working for the federal government somehow, and they thought he was an implant fed, and they run for the hills. It's like, no, we ain't doing any of this stuff. But yeah, you got a lot of good people that come out there, but there are some strange birds that show up too.
Yeah, we don't need any Ruby Ridges at a campfire.
No.
Hey, Jennifer and Phil, on your end, I know you got family nearby. Now, the circle, the community that you have in your area, is it just family? Do you have, because of all of us here, I think you're the only real, if I understand this right, you're where you were rooted. You're still in the place where you were rooted from the word go, by and large.
Well,
now, does your circle consist just of your family, or are there other people out there? Or is it the kind of community where I live, where, you know, people are reluctant to give you their last name if you don't belong, if you were born in that community?
Well, I'm a little further up north than probably you guys. I'm up here in Indiana, so it's a little different up here. People, I mean, there's still some the older people and stuff around. They'll say hi to you and everything, but a lot of people, they're moving in from around the country and everything. We got military bases up here, and people's bringing some of their little gangbanger kids and stuff like that. So it is not as a friendly environment as it is down south, but we do have some decent neighbors. Some of them's been homesteading and stuff with their kids and everything. We still have some of the old farmers, but again, a lot of the farmers, they're dying off. Their kids are selling the land, and they're starting to build, around us. So, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty much just our family, and it's not all of our family either. I mean, I got brothers and don't really have nothing to do with the farm stuff or anything like that. I mean, it's pretty much just me, Jen, and I mean, my parents, they help out some too. It's mostly just us. And then my brother and sister-in-law across the road, they come every now and then, but he's in the sheriff's department, so you won't really be seeing him because we got inmates and stuff he deals with. He don't want he don't want us linked. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty much just us.
And then you'll see the other family members in the videos here and there. So they come over when they can and help or just hang out. So, I mean, as far as like actually doing what we do, it's the four of us primarily.
Now let me kind of get on the heels of that with y'all, where I notice I see your young ones in the video as well. What's their involvement, if any, on the farm? Do you send them off to, do you homeschool them? Do you public school them? Do they help on the farm? What do they do?
Well, the little ones are too young for school right now. Like I said, one's 4 and the other one's only 2. So it's pretty much just us taking care of them. They go with us pretty much everywhere we go. There's sometimes I have to postpone doing certain things, if it's like in the upper 90s or something like that, because the little one can't handle that. He turns beet red and can't really cut no trees down or nothing like that when they're around because kids,
It's the dangerous stuff.
Right,
But whenever we have some help, some other family members around to help, but they love being in the garden. They love riding around in the 4-wheeler. They like to plant. They like to pick the plants.
Yeah.
We
try to incorporate them.
The animals, they help feed and water the animals. So they do their share of what they can do.
That's awesome. Garen, I want to ask this question, and I got to do it for the benefit of everybody out there. And folks, by the way, if you're just coming in, hit that like button or the thumbs up, whatever they call that thing. I guess they help whatever the algorithms are. I hate to say that as if I know what an algorithm even is. Anyway, maybe the algorithm's gender neutral or something. I don't know. Anyway, Garen, on to you. I want to know. There's a lot of concern out there, and I would dare say fear. In fact, I've been pretty critical of it as of late. Not because people are telling people what's going on in the world. It's just there's a lot of people out there giving bad advice or pretending as if they're in a position to even know when I know these. That's another thing altogether. I don't want to necessarily get into that because right now we got a bomb campaign out there raising money for Vets for Child Rescue. Remember, check it in the description down below. Anyway, Garen, with what's going on in this world, have you felt compelled? And I'm not sure you want to answer this, but have you felt compelled as of late to kick up your preparedness in light of the things that are going on? And if so, how are you going about doing that? Now, I know that can be a touchy question for a person in the preparedness things, but I would love your answer if you're okay with it.
No, that's fine. I've been accused of being evangelical about stuff and giving way too much information out, but that's the way we do things. Since we moved in here, everything's been a priority, and it's what's that paralysis by analysis. There's just so much to do around here that there's sometimes that we have to say, okay, just stop. We're going to work on this. And right now, as far as our stuff goes, talking with William and his consulting stuff, he said the first thing he tells people is 6 months worth of food stored up, and that's like a prepper basic. And I don't feel bad telling people that we've got that area covered. So our goal now is to have a year's worth of food on the hoof or a year's worth of food in the garden. And we have done everything wrong since we moved in here as far as permaculture goes. Expediency has taken front seat over doing things properly. I had to scrape the top 4 inches of soil off our garden with the Bobcat because it was so full of Johnson grass and junk and stuff, and that's.
Oh.
Well, let's give him a second here and see if he comes on back. In the meantime, we'll go to our commercial break and tell everybody that, hey, we got a. Are you coming back?
I'm back.
Okay.
Back. I'm on Starlink. I really like Starlink. If anybody's ever been on HughesNet, even with the pauses like this, Starlink is way better.
Wow.
So if you can get it, most of the time it's DSL speed. Every now and then, when you're live stream or something like this, you get these pauses. But I highly recommend Starlink. No, but what I was saying was, I think you were talking to Neethi and the other gentleman at the Self-Reliance Festival, when you guys were sitting on the couch during that video, and he made a comment that I thought was so fantastic. He said, I'd rather see 10,000 people doing it wrong and doing something than 10 people doing it right. And I heard that, and I was like, that's such a profound statement. And you know, how many people, what's the saying? Perfection is the enemy of good enough. You know, right now with things speeding up, man, sometimes good enough is what we need. You know, sure, I can go for those long, slow permaculture solutions, but I needed a garden in right now. I couldn't take and put wood chips down and smother out all the plants and stuff. I needed a garden plot now. And I think there's a lot of people out there. You mentioned fear. And that's one of the things that struck me at the Self-Reliance Festival. You know, there were a lot of new preppers and homesteaders there. And just talking to people, there's that undercurrent of fear. And you mentioned that you get emails from people like that all the time. And we've started getting comments on our channels. We've started getting a big enough reach. We're getting comments on our channel about people being afraid. And that's why the community is so important. You know, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but if you're living in fear, you're going to make bad decisions. And having somebody there that you can talk to and bounce ideas off of and just stand shoulder to shoulder with goes a long way to making things right. Yeah.
Darren, how do you? No, that's a wonderful answer. I like that. Darren, what do you say to all those people out there that they see this anvil falling? From their worldview, I'm getting all these letters from these folks and a lot of desperate people out there. You've been at this a very long time. There's some of them. There was one person that said, look, man, I just got out of the matrix. I basically pulled myself up from the bottom of Plato's cave. Now I'm out. I realize that I am screwed in my current state of affairs. What do you tell those people, having been at this for a very long time? What do you tell them right out of the gates? What should they do first to get on the right path?
Start with your food, getting something put away, even if it's a couple cans here or there for a paycheck. You can go online. There's groups you can go to. You can learn what to put away and all of that, but you've got to step forward and do something every day to increase your ability to take care of yourself. Even if that's doing nothing but putting stuff in your head, knowledge of how to react to different situations. Like if they picked me and pulled me out and threw me out somewhere else, and I've got nothing that I put away or anything, I've got enough in my head to either get what they've got or better. And it's just having that knowledge gives you confidence to be able to do that. It overpowers the fear, tenfold. Like Garen was saying, being able to stand with somebody and figure something out, you're not so scared anymore. You got that helping hand. To tell some newbie that just dropped out, that's where I would start, is just start putting a little away. Start reducing your debt, because you get behind on something and it just snowballs on you, and now you're really freaking out. So the sooner you can take away that fear, it gives you confidence for other things also. And it also gives you the ability to prepare more also. But, homesteading is a natural progression from preparedness. And it just seems like that kind of goes away. And if something pops up, we're always going back to the prepper side of things. And it's like, okay, is this good? Is this good? So you make your checks again. Checklist is done. We're back to homesteading again. Everything's cool. But that just the food and the ability to make better decisions, because you don't have all that debt, are probably two of the biggest ones, I would say.
Sounds good. Okay, Jennifer and Phil, I want to kind of hit this one at you in the maybe a slightly different way. I'm reluctant to ask you some of the more forward questions that I answer these other guys, but you know what? I'm going to shoot from the hip and do it anyway. If you don't want to, just tell me. If you don't want to answer, that's fine. But is there a preparedness? It almost seems a rhetorical question, but I got to ask because so many people are blowing up the email about this. Is there a preparedness component in how you farm?
So first off, I'd say you need to get right with God, because if you don't have God on your side, then you're going to fail. I mean, flat out. You can't do it alone. Even if you're by yourself, if you've got God on your side, you're not alone. You've got everything with you at that point. And but yeah, like he said, you start putting things away. We got a few buckets of food or whatever that I got whenever I quit my job. I cashed out my 401k because I just knew the economy was going to go down, and it did. It's about worthless now. So I invest. I mean, everybody's different. Everybody can do different things. I ain't saying there's one way, but I invested mine into physical things. I bought tools. I started fixing up some of my buildings. I got some seeds. I started getting some livestock, some breeding stock and everything, which we just got small herds right now because we're just starting over again. But yeah, just everything you
Buckets
can.
Of food.
Yeah. Some books here and there, some things we ain't never even thought about doing in the past. I mean, it's going to be a new world, I mean, so to speak. So the old ways are going to be out soon as far as farming goes. So with all the chemicals and stuff disappearing off shelves. So,
and I want to just jump in a little bit. I grew up on this farm. My dad was a farmer. His dad and grandpa and all that was farmer. So I've got, I guess you could say, education within the farming in itself and knowledge. So one of the best preparedness things is the education part of it. Watch these videos, read the books, have that knowledge so that you're not wasting money, that type of a thing. So as he's going through this, he asked me a lot, "Hey, Mom, what do you think about this?" Because he knows I've got this background. I grew up where my parents had an acre of garden, and I tell you what, I got so sick of snapping beans that I said I would never raise beans again. But here I am. I'm raising beans and going back through it. So here I've been like homesteading just as part of my natural family. And as I grew up, I kind of went away from it. I started teaching and doing this kind of thing. But because of him, I kind of gone back into this, and they're doing the hard work. But like I said, the preparedness, have that knowledge. Yeah, put your money in the right places, but you got to have knowledge even for that too.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for chiming in on there. I think that's some awesome wisdom. See, the benefit of having a Walton setup right there.
Exactly.
You got a walking encyclopedia I mean, there's really a lot in that. I really do believe that because, like where I live, I rely on Justin because I wasn't born and raised here. And there's things, so many things, just little things, big things, all the way around where you have the benefit of having your mom having been there, and then she has generational wisdom in her case. Well, I don't have that in the area where I live. But I got a friend down the road who does. And we belong in this same community. So there's little things that he knows from his great-great-grandpa that got passed all the way down about living in these mountains that I couldn't begin to know. Little things about how to shed the water away from your road so that it ain't washing out every storm,
Right.
So there's the benefit of having that. Or somebody like, in Darren's case where you're thinking, man, I seen him do stuff like drag an entire shed with his truck over the well just to try to get, I mean, there's I don't have that knowledge, or there's something that maybe I bring to the table where I'm a butcher, or that's the beauty of that is, well, I can't even begin to describe the beauty of that community. So we're going to have, hey folks, we're going to be getting near the end here, but I want to remind everybody out there, remember, if you're new, and first of all, hit that thumbs up button. It helps whatever the algorithms are. And number two, remember, we got that campaign. We're helping out Veterans for Child Rescue every dime, not 99%. 100% of everything goes to Veterans for Child Rescue. We're going to do everything we can to help eradicate child sex trafficking off this planet in any way we possibly can. So dig deep. We got benefactors that are going to match dollar for dollar all the way up to $1,000. So let's dig deep. I know times are tough, and everybody's counting their pennies these days. And if you can do it, we definitely appreciate whatever you can do there. Also, remember, at the end of July, we got the link down below as well. We also have that swale class coming up. Right now, it seems like most of the country's in drought. So that's what a swale is designed to do, is to help drought-proof your place. You want to know how to do that? Well, we've done them before, and we've put in a lot. In fact, our place back in Texas didn't even look at it for 2.5 years, and it is blowing up despite the fact of all that drought down there, and it's because of good management, good earthworks. That's what we do. So if you want to know about that stuff, go down below. Also, the YouTube channels that we're talking right now, whether it's Chamberlin Family Farms, Grumpy's channel, Darren's channel, all of it is listed down below. We're asking y'all, please keep in mind, look, it's not everybody knows about the very big YouTube channels out there, but you don't know about some of these very consequential people that are doing awesome stuff that nobody really has had the benefit of knowing yet. I promise you, there are a lot of us out here that are within this community, and this is the way we're going to find out. So I'm not going to spend, I never have spent time just interviewing big channels in the hopes that I may get some of their whatever. I'm hoping to reach out with people that are doing some pretty awesome and astonishing stuff that we can all benefit from their joint wisdom. So that's exactly what I'm hoping for. So, hey, on the way, it seems like somebody else just joined us in over here.
That's my dad, Phil Sr. He's ex-military and ex-law enforcement too.
Awesome. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you guys for sure. I do appreciate it. Hey, real quick, before we get on out of here, I want to make sure we end this on a high note. Okay, Darren, hopefully Angela's around. Y'all want to tell me about this wife swapping story?
They're out.
Okay. So, like I said, at these campouts, everybody goes around the campfire Saturday night and introduces themselves and kind of what they do, what brought them there. And these girls, Chris and Dallin, our partners here, and then Grumpy's wife, they're always hanging out together with my wife. So there's those three amigos. Well, they're sitting next to me, and I don't remember who suggested it, but they said, when you stand up, introduce yourself and tell them that these are your sister wives. and I did, and you should have seen the looks on people's faces like, oh, what have I got myself into now? Yeah, we have a good time out there, but that's where that came from.
Oh, my goodness, man. Well, okay, and I just found out why they call her Yoda, but honestly, Grumpy, I mean, if that's not going to be a T-shirt for you, man, it really ought to be for somebody, man. What does she say? I'm not down for that wife. Well, it's been a real joy, y'all. I gotta get bouncing here because, like everybody else here, we got animals to look after. Hey, folks, do yourself a favor. Go and check out these YouTube channels. We got them all listed down below. You're going to be glad you did. Like I said, and remember also at the end of the day, y'all, because I want to give you a little YouTuber inside information a lot of folks don't know about. Okay, some of these bigger channels, man, they put a lot of time into production, meaning that you know what they will spend hours and hours and hours in editing. We don't do that. And I bet any amount of money they don't do it either. So our production quality isn't as highfalutin as a lot of other folks. We put the information out there because that's what we're in. That's what we do. There's not going to be a lot of fancy cuts. There's not going to be all about that. So at the end of the day, we really ought not to be concerning ourselves without the cinematography of how we're putting out these videos. We're putting these things out, y'all, to saturate the internet with information for anybody that is wanting to have it. So that's why we're talking to them here right now. They're all I've been at this a little bit longer than everybody else here, but the other ones are kicking this off, and they're doing a wonderful job. You'll be glad you checked them out. Once again, y'all, check out that fundraiser, please. 5 o'clock tomorrow is when it ends. We're going to raise as much money as we possibly can for Veterans for Child Rescue. Hey, I want to thank everybody for checking us out, and we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast at this point. Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
having me.
much, y'all. Thanks for coming on with me.
Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.